Brodes Media.
Imagine not being an Eagles fan. Howie's different every day. Every day there's breaking news. Every day there's a monster player who's either getting extended, getting brought back in free agency. Zack Baun. This guy was incredible everywhere, every game. Tackles, tackle for losses, interceptions, forced fumbles. Holy shit. I can't wait to watch him compete for the next few years. And before you say, Brodes, are you nervous? Brodes, are you scared? There's only been 1 year of production. Fuck no! No! Here's why. I trust their evaluation. They've seen Zack Baun enter the NovaCare complex on a proven deal, and he earned a phenomenal opportunity, and they saw his work ethic every second of every day. How he studies film, how he attacks practice, how he prepares for a game, and the most important, how he succeeds every Sunday. We got to learn him too as a fan base. Does he seem like the type of cat that's just going to kick his feet up and relax now that he earned life-changing money when he thought maybe in New Orleans that there wasn't going to be a bright future for his NFL career? Does he seem to be the guy that is all good and he's just going to quit, not give a damn anymore, and give up on his teammates and say, all right, well, I got what I wanted? Please. If anything, you know what he learned this offseason? If you continue to grind, if you continue to be great, if you just grow and dominate, there's probably more to be made, dude. Congratulations on your $34 million guaranteed, which is nuts. The total is 3 years, 51 mil. So we got 34 mil guaranteed. You see what happens. If things are going well, if you continue to ball, if you're one of the best linebackers in all of football, even at your age, there's consideration, okay? We can sit down and really talk and see what would be best. Extension, restructure. Now, he's getting up there in age. He's not a young kid, okay? So I don't know to what extreme, but same applies to Saquon. Saquon's no young chicken, young pup, spring chicken. I don't know what the damn word is. I fuck up all the time. But Howie doesn't, and neither does Green Lawn Fertilizing. If you're stressing about your lawn this spring, my great friends over at Green Lawn Fertilizing can help. They are based in the Philly area and the best in the market. Experts in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Delaware, and extremely knowledgeable. They've created a custom blend that will have your lawn recovering from the drought that we all had last year. The first round is super important to lay the groundwork for the rest of the season. So they want people starting now. They are offering, listen to this deal very closely, because you can't miss out on this. You'd be a fool if you do. They're offering 2 free treatments and 10% off for the early birds. Green Lawn Fertilizing officially started treating lawns Monday. So for them, spring is here. This is what you're going to do. You're going to check out the link down below in the description, which will take you right to their website through my link, through Brodes. It'll tell them that I sent you. My wife and I joined the Green Lawn Fertilizing family, and it is the happiest my wife has ever been. Forget getting married. Forget our wedding day. Forget the day that Brooklyn was born. It was the day that Green Lawn Fertilizing made our grass as pretty as Howie Roseman's moves this offseason. Make sure you check out the link down below. So, I got to be honest. I didn't know if I was going to take Howie Roseman's words at face value. Remember we had that discussion? And he said things are going to look unconventional. Things are going to look a little bit different. Well, he was truthful. He was honest. Here's a running back and a linebacker. What I love about this is there seems to be a philosophical change. And that doesn't mean the old philosophy was bad. And it doesn't mean you throw away every part of the old philosophy, because I want you to still build within the trenches. I want you to still value pass rush. The pass rush in the Super Bowl, ding, 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 ding. An incredible part to your success. You draft Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith, both in the first round. Ding, 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 ding. Monster contributors in the postseason run. So obviously, they are still going to stick to a lot of their bread and butter, but they also drafted a first-round corner in Quinyon Mitchell. They also actively went heavy towards moving up in the second round to draft another secondary player in Cooper DeJean. And I'm used to thinking that the Eagles are always going to apply pressure in the trenches defensively to try to go get 70 sacks again. It seems they are more willing to set a new trend. And this league was so pass happy forever. Let's bomb it downfield. Let's just focus on asking our quarterback to drop back and throw it 50 times and see what transpires. And we'll just try to get explosive play after explosive play in the air. And you know what? The Eagles are starting to bring toughness. A linebacker that's in your face nonstop. A linebacker that's going to play hard nose and fuck you up. And fuck you up when he meets you at the line of scrimmage. When he meets you in the backfield. Saquon Barkley will run you over. Hell, he may even do a 180 and jump backwards to leap over you. But, you know, that's the skill side of Saquon Barkley. He obviously runs harder than essentially everybody in the damn league. So my point is, the passing game, kind of finesse, Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, cute, creative. Let's see what we can do with the scheme. Let's scheme guys open. Not that there's anything wrong with scheming guys open, but that's a very finesse style of play. And here are the Eagles setting the tone in such a very copycat league that we are going to bring more of a physical brand. We are going to play tough, hard-nosed to the point where we are signing Saquon when he's already here. We are going to bring Zack Baun back. We want to play with attitude and this fear. I want this fear to be all over the place. Oh, God, we got to play the birds. My body's going to be broken. I'm going to need 16 different surgeries next week. It's week 4. We have how many more games after this? And hell, for the teams that are in your division that got to see you twice, good luck. You're going to need 18 surgeries twice throughout the damn season. That seems to be what Howie Roseman is saying to the rest of the world. Think about how active he's been, though. It's so beautiful to have Howie here. James Bradberry, thank you very much. And I am so proud of this fan base to really get, this is such a tiny, small little thing, but the amount of love and appreciation that James Bradberry has received on social media over the last 24, 48 hours or so. And it also happened after the Super Bowl when he got interviewed and he was such a mentor to a lot of the guys. It was not an easy journey for him after the 2022 campaign. And, you know, for him to be as professional as he was, I even remember during his down year after having such a sensational, earlier season, I said, damn, this guy just stands in front of his locker and he is as pro can get. You know, he's not making any excuses. He's not saying anything bad. He's not being egregious or throwing anyone under the bus or showing that he's aggravated to a certain level where it's rough. You know, he showed signs of being mad at himself, but being mad at himself is a lot different than the alternative when things don't go right for some athletes. And I always thought he carried himself so well. And when he left, there was another appreciation wave that happened from the fans. And I just want to acknowledge that. But anyway, Howie Roseman, he says goodbye to James Bradberry, goodbye for now to Darius Slay. And, you know, he's super active with all this dough. And speaking of being active with all the dough, here's the truth. Howie Roseman doesn't have a cap. I tried telling people this, and I got laughed at. What do you mean he doesn't have a cap? If he doesn't have a cap, then why is Josh Sweat going? If he doesn't have a cap, then why is Milton Williams going? Well, of course, there are some decisions that have to be made, but look at all this money that's been getting thrown around. This is from Warren Sharp on Twitter. Howie Roseman has given the following massive contracts since the 2023 offseason. $255 million to Jalen Hurts, $81 million to Lane Johnson, $96 million to A.J. Brown, $84 million to Devontae Smith, $75 million to Landon Dickerson, 84, 75 to Devontae. I don't know if I screwed any of that up. 66 mil to Jordan Mailata, 51 mil to Bryce Huff, 51 mil to Zack Baun, and that doesn't even include Saquon Barkley. How do you do it? Well, you pay guys earlier than expected. You get out in front of the market. You don't wait and franchise tag and back yourself into a corner, and then you get screwed, and then you're paying someone an absurd, irrational amount of money when their production will never live up to those expectations. And then you also have Jeffrey Lurie, who's willing to cut a check and pay these guys a ton as well, and guaranteed money and signing bonuses and the whole thing. But for that much money to be spread around in such a short window, again, the salary cap doesn't exist for Howie Roseman. It exists a minor degree. You got to get rid of some fat. You got to trim some fat. But that fat is Milton Williams. Milton Williams is a good player. Good organizations can find Milton Williams, right? There's only so many Saquons. There's only so many AJs. There's only so many Lane Johnsons. There's only so many Quinyon Mitchells, and I can't wait to see what his ceiling ends up being because he's just touching the surface. Milton Williams is a nice, solid, rotational defensive tackle. Josh Sweat, same thing. A nice, solid defensive end. A solid starter. Those are the type of guys that you allow to filter through your organization while you go hunt for the big dogs. And then you go spend a lot of your cash on the big dogs. And when you draft well, forget about what those players are eventually going to deserve when it's time for their payday. You'll figure that out and pay them earlier than expected. And the whole cycle just continues. But you also get premier talent on very small cap hits too. So that's how he does it. He drafts well, he pays early, and it's one big cycle. But nobody does it like Howie Roseman does it. And I think so far, he's knocked this out of the park. Unfortunately, though, I do have to admit that I think my dreams are starting to die down on Myles Garrett. And when I saw the Max Crosby deal, I just got uncomfortable. And then you see the Zack Baun money. So I don't necessarily know exactly how you're going to swing it. I'm not ruling it out. Hear me right now. I am not ruling it out at all. But I don't know. They do need help with pass rush. Let's look at this. There was a report by Derek Gunn that, what? Brandon Graham tore his tricep again in the Super Bowl? So for any hope that he'd return for another run, I don't know. That's a lot to go through physically when you're pretty much kind of saying goodbye as it is. Now, if you were able to be healthy throughout an offseason, to go through that grind and that rehab and that process again, and then when would you even be officially able to get back on the field again? I don't know. That's a lot. It's a lot to go through. So I'm expecting him to hang up the cleats and make a statement at some point if Derek Gunn is right. And trust me, we all know about the relationship and friendship between Brandon Graham and Derek Gunn. I'm sure there is definitely truth to it. So there's that. And then you lose Sweat, and you do need help with pass rush. I don't know if Jalix Hunt is ready to be a full-time guy and just step in there, even though I'm very intrigued on what he can be. But again, maybe I have this mindset of you always watch them go so heavy in the pass rush all the time. Maybe this is part of their unconventional way of attacking where, hey, listen, we don't need to be 70 sacks. We don't have to build it where it's just unstoppable and unbreakable. Or that doesn't even make sense, but unstoppable, where you break free, there you go, through the offensive line nonstop. Maybe they're just looking for a strong pass rush, and then they build with linebacker play. We don't know exactly where everything stands with Nakobe Dean and the injury that he had to deal with and when he is exactly going to be on the field. So we'll have to see how they elect to look at that current position and that current role. But maybe they do build this where it's layered. And there's so much with the foundation of the defense in every single way, instead of being top heavy or back heavy. It's just perfect. And each respected position has a good amount of talent, a really good linebacker. And when you think about the top linebackers in the league, Zack Baun is right up there. And he's about fourth in the league when it comes to this payday. So he just has to go out there again and continue to play that way. Is he going to be first team All-Pro, best linebacker in the league? I don't know. But I think he's going to be very, 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 very important to the fabric and the personality of the defense. I think he's going to be a good linebacker this year and worth the money. Does that necessarily mean he has to be the best linebacker in the NFL? That's a very tall ask, especially knowing what he was prior to this, right? It's not like he was a number one linebacker coming out of Alabama and you knew he was going to flourish in this league from day one and he was a special prospect and a 5-star recruit. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't known Zack Baun was going to be a first-team All-Pro the day he stepped into the league. But I do think he's going to earn this contract, play to this contract, and whether that's second best, third best, fourth best, I could see him being a top 5 linebacker in the NFL. That I can see. So if he's fifth, if he's fourth, if he's third, and he's not necessarily one, I still think that's a phenomenal contract for him and a perfect weapon for Vic Fangio. I'd imagine Vic Fangio had a very big voice in this decision, as he should. Look what he was able to do. Trust Vic Fangio with everything right now, because what he touched here, it turned into gold all across the board. That was one of the scariest defenses I've ever seen. I don't even know if we truly understood the greatness of the defense throughout the season when they were transitioning to that amazing play. Now, towards the end in the playoff run, I tried explaining how Matthew Stafford was going to feel it. And then by the end, Jalen Carter, oh yeah, you're going to feel it. Oh, you're going to feel it. And then, oh, Jaden Daniels, please. I mean, you're a rookie. You don't even understand yet. Wait until you see what they are capable of doing at home in an NFC championship game. And, yo, Jordan Love, same applies to you, as there were interceptions getting thrown left and right. So I projected their defense during the postseason run to be the juggernaut and the force that they were. But there was a time where we were still trying to figure out exactly who they were and what was their personality. And there was a time, I don't know if we necessarily knew. You know what I mean? We did towards the end, but it took us through an interesting path to get there. But damn, wow, were they awesome. Okay, Garage Beer. It's my favorite beer. I'm going to get to sit down next year and watch Zack Baun on my couch on Sunday, Monday, Thursday, hell, maybe Saturday late in the year, and drink Garage Beer. There's nothing better on planet Earth. 0% IPA, 100% light beer, 1,000% quality. DrinkGarageBeer.com. Okay, let's take a listen here to Pat McAfee. So this is about 2 minutes. This was on the Pat McAfee show when the news was announced and there was breaking news hitting everybody's timeline. This is how the Pat McAfee show responded to the news.
Okay, wow. Buzzer beater, not in the midday news. Buzzer beater. Zack Baun has signed back with the Philadelphia Eagles, including with $34 million guaranteed at signing. 3 years, $51 million. $1.5 million in escalators possible. That means he's getting most of his money. The contract instantly makes Baun one of the highest paid linebackers in the NFL. Zack Baun goes from being a special teamer, a guy that isn't on the field much for the Saints, goes up to Philadelphia, becomes an absolute dog for the Super Bowl champions, and they give him money. Congrats to Zack Baun finding the right spot for him. And Vic Fangio said, listen, Zach, you can do whatever you want to do, including maybe even be a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year, which is exactly what he did with this Eagles team. What a perfect fit for a squad. What a perfect fit for a scheme. And what a guy getting paid off for all of his hard work in an incredible season for the Johns in Philly. They pay Saquon whenever they didn't have to. They pay Zack Baun whenever Zach. There's no way Zach thought this was what his future was going to look like in his NFL career with how it was going. Congrats to him. Congrats to the Eagles. Howie's making some plays, D-Bud.
Making some plays. And shout out to Zack Baun, man. Everybody's career is different. Everybody's journey is different. You talked about it being a special teamer, being a guy that played on the edge, and then you get your real first opportunity to be an off-ball linebacker and break the bank. And this is a position kind of similar to running back and safety for a while, got devalued for a little bit. So I'm glad he got his money in the prime of his career and a real cornerstone of that Vic Fangio defense going forward.
AJ, what are your thoughts on Zack Baun, the linebacker, as the all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers?
You know, what I loved about Zack Baun, obviously he started out the year, and we heard about him throughout the regular season, how great he was, but this dude, like, even elevated above that for the playoffs. Like, when things mattered in the playoffs and the Super Bowl, the dude continued to step up over and over again. So that's why, like, what a great, like, it's funny how the timing must work with him. Like, obviously he feels good physically, feels good mentally, and then he gets to the Eagles in this scheme for whatever reason. Obviously this is what suits him very well, and the dude made plays every single week. So that's why football's awesome, man. Like, you do this, you get rewarded. Like, that. Hey, if you go above and beyond of what we may have thought, like, you're going to go be paid one of the highest paid linebackers in the NFL, which, yeah, tell him that a year and a half ago. You think he believes it?
Yeah, that's the truth. So a few things there, and as they're talking, they're showing the highlights on TV. And, dude, I mean, that interception in the Super Bowl right by the end zone, his tackles, and the way he was creating tackles for losses and putting the other team at second and long, third and long. You think you're going to succeed third and long against this defense with this type of coverage, with Slay and Quignon and the way they were playing with Coop and Jalen Carter in the middle and Nolan Smith turning it on? Right? I know I'm referencing last year, and some of those guys might not be here, but you understand what I'm saying. One of those guys being Slay, that's about it. But you know what I'm saying? That's all he did. He was even turning it on more. He became better when the lights were shining bright. And do you feel that Zack Baun is truly going to feel satisfied now? Does that seem to be the guy that he is? It's been short terms here, okay? It's not like he's been here 5 years, so we know him that well. But you get it. You get it when a guy has the right head on his shoulders, just like James Bradberry. He was playing poorly, but you could tell there was something about the man that he was and the pro that he was. Now, Zack Baun's not playing poor, but I'm saying, you know the type of guy he is with the mic'd up stuff on the bench, saying, you know why they did that? You know why they did that? Because Nick Sirianni trusts us. Did that being why they called that play. Did that being why they made that decision in the game. And he's hyping up his teammates, and he's talking about the coaching staff in such a high regard. And I mean, I think there's actually a chance that with the way he works, can he duplicate that season? I know I was mentioning top 5 earlier, but I can't rule it out. And then it goes back to, again, this entire locker room. Jalen's wired the right way. AJ's hungry. Nick is hungry. Howie's hungry. We get an all-pro linebacker who proved himself to the entire league, gets paid by this organization, and then he wants to just continue that drive to prove that maybe that wasn't 1 year. You think 1 year's all I got? Come on, man. Come on, I'm getting a second year at this position now. I'm getting a second year in Vic Fangio's defense. That was me just figuring it out. And I figured it out nicely and quickly, but there's still more to learn. And when I get to consume all this information, you wait. There's more coming. He's closer to that than I'm good. Let me relax. My family's set up for life. Here's Zack Baun on what he said during the locker cleanout day. This revived my love for the game, honestly. I think it was dwindling there in New Orleans for a while. It just revived my love for this and the passion I have for the game. That's what the 2024 season in Philadelphia meant for him. It got him back to appreciating the sport. And I got to imagine that's such a tremendous feeling. Truth be told, not that anybody gives a damn about my hockey career, but towards the end of my college hockey career, I lost the love. Now, I found the passion in this, which was an easy transition for me, and I was realizing my love for sports talk radio was what I was feeling about my hockey journey when I was 15, 16, 17, 18, dreaming of playing college hockey. So I found something else. But when you do lose the love for the game, man, it's demoralizing. It's hard. It's difficult. You feel beaten down. You're not as confident. You question yourself. So to be able to dig deep, earn yourself a chance to start at a different position and then shine that way, that doesn't accidentally happen. That's not the mindset of someone who will now chill out and be satisfied with where he is. Because if you're able to mentally break that hurdle, same applies to Jalen. That Tua stuff, that sits in him forever. When he was talking to the team before the Super Bowl, he brought it up. That's never going away. That's part of the internal drive. Same here, man. Same here. All right, so here's Emmanuel Acho. Looks like he's in the car doing a breaking news type of ordeal. Here's Emmanuel Acho on his instant reaction to the signing.
Zack Baun finally got paid. Let's talk about it. Let me put my car in park. It's a good deal for both parties. Great deal for Zack Baun. You go from making $1.5 million to $51 million, $34 million guaranteed. So let's talk about that number. That's why it's great for the Eagles. It's basically a 2-year, $34 million deal. Where does Zack Baun rank amongst linebackers? Fourth in average annual value at $17 million a year, behind Roquan Smith, Fred Warner, Tremaine Edmonds, and then Zack Baun. Great deal for the Eagles because you're only paying him $34 million guaranteed. Edmonds got $50 million guaranteed. Roquan got $60 million guaranteed. Fred Warner signed his deal first. He got $40 million guaranteed. So it's a great deal for the Eagles because you're only guaranteeing $34 million. Basically, you're saying, give us 2 more good years, Zack Baun. 2 more good years. Great deal for Zack Baun because you go from being a outside linebacker special teams player making $1.5 million to now making, switch the digits, $51 million. Great deal for the Eagles. Great deal for Zack Baun. And Zack Baun played one of the best linebacking years we have seen in the last 15 years. I would suggest since Luke Kuechly won Defensive Player of the Year. I think it was the 2013 season. Win-win for both parties. Shout out to you, Baun. Keep balling.
Now, I got to say, Emmanuel Acho all year long, while he was doing some other things, he was definitely giving high praise to Zack Baun, saying this guy needs to be Defensive Player of the Year. If he had these stats and his name was somebody else and his name was a big flashy name in the NFL league circles, those numbers win Defensive Player of the Year. You talk about Luke Kuechly. That guy, wow. If Luke Kuechly had those numbers, you'd say, wow. It's just his name doesn't pop because it was an out-of-nowhere type of surge. But that's the level of linebacker we have. And when you have that, you can't let that pass. As great as TJ Edwards was, it wasn't this. You know, the Kaiser White stuff. Bleh. I thought, what was it, Zach Cunningham that you got from the Commanders? I thought that would work out better than it did. That wasn't really great. Nigel Brett. What was the... Do you remember the Doug Peterson, Nigel Bradham thing that happened? I don't know how the hell this randomly just popped into my head. But wasn't there something where he missed? Hold on. He missed a bus trip up to New York or something? Eagles thought Nigel Bradham went AWOL after missing the preseason finale. The coaches were livid when they realized he was absent. I don't remember what happened. Eagles coach Doug Peterson has no plans to suspend Nigel Bradham. Doug Peterson had great conversation with Bradham, ready to move on. Anyway, I don't know. Saints Nigel Bradham backtracks after slamming Eagles organization. I don't remember. I don't remember. It was a preseason game. Bradham said he was sick and didn't want to make the long drive. Whatever. I have no idea how I just got to that. But anyway, those days are long gone. Not even my Nigel Bradham, but this is a different animal. Okay, this is a different cat. Jeff Kerr. Zack Baun is the only player in the NFL since tackles became a stat to have 30-plus tackles, 2+ interceptions, and a forced fumble in a single postseason. He's also the first player to have 150 tackles and 5+ forced fumbles in a season. He was everywhere. I'm going to lay down tonight and just watch Zack Baun highlights. I think that's exactly what I'm going to do. Just consume the madness. Yeah. I hope there's like a 45-minute highlight package where I get the same play in slow-mo 6 or 7 different times with a lot of different angles so I can really appreciate. Nothing's worse than when you want to soak in greatness and it's just the live gameplay. No, definitely audio, but no replays and no different. It's just no. I need to see it all. I need to see that punch out. I need to see the ball fly out of the wide receiver's hands because Zack Baun is meeting him, after Cooper DeJean wraps him up and then Zack Baun flies over to the left sideline and fucking pumps it right out of his hands and jumps on it. This guy's unbelievable. This guy's unbelievable. I can't wait. I just can't wait. I can't wait to watch them. When's the first game? Thank you guys all so much for hanging out with me. I love you more than anything. You're the best in the world. Go Birds! Talk to you on the next one.